There are two types of the anxious avoidant trap, and most coaches are only going to talk about one kind. I'm going to fill you in on the two kinds so that you can recognize them in your relationship and you can get on the road to healing. The first type is the chase. The chase is created when we have attachment dynamics of the anxious preoccupied with the dismissive avoidant, or the fearful avoidant with the dismissive avoidant. Remember that the fearful avoidant will lean opposite of their partner. So if a fearful avoidant is with a DA who's very avoidant, they are going to lean more anxious. And whenever we have one really anxious person and one person leaning heavily to avoidance, we will get the chase. The more anxious person will come in and say, hey, my needs are not being met, or you're not doing something right. The avoidant will get activated into their defectiveness wound, and they will get defensive or people please and then quickly withdraw. And the withdrawal is the really hurtful piece that activates the wounds of the fearful avoidant, which they will feel betrayed, or the anxious preoccupied, which will feel abandoned. The other type of anxious avoidant trap is the push-pull. And we get this dynamic when we have an anxious preoccupied with a fearful avoidant, or we have a fearful avoidant with another fearful avoidant. Let me break that down. When we have an anxious preoccupied person with a fearful avoidant, remember the fearful will lean opposite of their partner. So the FA in this case will lean more avoidant. The anxious preoccupied is always going to try to seek connection, but sometimes the anxious preoccupied out of fear of abandonment will get quiet. That's not their avoidant side. They don't have an avoidant side. They're simply holding their anxiety in a flight response. But the FA will see this as space, or they will detect the quiet and they will come towards their partner. But of course, once their partner starts to reciprocate, boom, they go back again. So it can create a push-pull, push-pull. The same thing happens with two fearful avoidants. One will lean anxious, one will lean dismissive, but they can essentially switch the anxiety and avoidance. They can switch who's the more anxious one and who's the more avoidant one, sometimes within the same conversation. So their relationship is a definite push-pull, push-pull, push-pull. Whether you have the chase or you have the push-pull, the bottom line is nobody's needs are being met. One person is experiencing attachment anxiety, the other person is experiencing attachment avoidance, and we have two people that are not getting their needs met in the relationship, and you are going to have very negative conflict cycles. Attachment theory is solid psychological science that gets to the absolute root of your relationship problems, and I help bring people into secure attachment every single day so they can have lasting and fulfilling healthy romantic relationships. Right now, we're running a sale through Valentine's Day. You can use LOVE14 as the code for 14% off every service that I have to offer. I highly recommend my hybrid group. Go to my website, thedatingdecoder.com, click on book group and enter code LOVE14.